There are moments in life that define who we become. Moments so small, so quiet, that most people would overlook them. But for the person standing in that moment, everything changes. This story begins with a young boy who had already been labeled a failure. He was told he was educable mentally disabled, put back from 5th grade to 4th grade, stuck in that category all the way through high school. No college education, no special advantages, no one expecting anything great from him. Just another kid the system had already given up on. And the most dangerous thing about labels is not what others say about you, it's what you begin to believe about yourself. One day, while waiting outside a classroom, a teacher walked in and said something that would change everything. "Go to the board and write what I'm about to tell you." The boy froze. "I can't do that." The teacher asked, "Why not?" "I'm not one of your students." The teacher looked at him and said, "That doesn't matter. Follow my directions." Again, the boy resisted. "I can't." This time the teacher walked from behind his desk and looked him directly in the eyes. "Why not?" With his head down and his voice shaking, the boy said, "Because I'm mentally disabled." That moment, that sentence, could have ended his life before it ever began. But instead, something unexpected happened. The teacher leaned in and said words that would echo for the rest of his life. "Don't ever say that again. Someone's opinion of you does not have to become your reality." In that instant, something broke open. His heart began to beat faster. Tears started running down his face. He wasn't even in the class. But that speech was for him. That teacher didn't see a label. He saw potential. And sometimes all it takes is one person to remind you that you are more than what the world says you are. The teacher continued, "If you want to do anything worthwhile in life, you've got to be hungry. Hungry for more than survival. Hungry for more than comfort. Hungry for something bigger than the pain you were born into." The boy listened, and for the first time in his life, he allowed himself to dream. He said, "I want to become a disc jockey." Most people would have laughed. No experience, no education, no connections. But the teacher didn't laugh. He said, "Then practice every day like you already are one." The boy replied, "But I don't have a job." The teacher said something that separates dreamers from achievers. It's better to be prepared for an opportunity and not have one than to have an opportunity and not be prepared. Those words planted a seed. So the boy began working on himself in silence, practicing, learning, growing, without applause, without validation. Then one day he walked into a radio station. He asked for a job. The answer was no. No experience. No background. No openings. He walked away discouraged but not defeated. When he told the teacher said, "Don't take it personally. Most people are so negative they have to say no 7 times before they say yes." So the boy went back. And back again. Day after day, rejected, dismissed, told to leave. Until one day the station manager, frustrated, said, "Go get me some coffee." And the boy said, "Yes, sir." That's when most people would quit, but hunger doesn't quit. He brought coffee, he brought lunch, he brought dinner. He walked into the control rooms, watching, listening, learning. And he didn't leave until they asked him to leave. He wasn't getting paid, he wasn't on the air. But he was preparing because deep down, he believed his moment would come. And when it did, he would be ready. Days turned into weeks. Weeks turned into months. The boy kept showing up to the radio station when no one asked him to, when no one paid him, when no one believed in him. He wasn't famous, he wasn't important, he was invisible. But invisibility can be a gift when you're willing to work in silence. Every time he walked through those doors, he absorbed everything. how the DJs spoke, how they controlled their tone, how they commanded attention without shouting. He studied success the way most people study excuses. And then, one day, the moment came. One of the DJs didn't show up. The station manager panicked. Dead air meant lost money. He looked around and saw the boy, the one who had been bringing coffee, cleaning rooms, sitting quietly in corners. And he asked a simple question. Do you know how to run the board? The boy didn't hesitate. Yes. That word, yes, changed his life. Not because he was guaranteed success, but because he had prepared for this moment long before it arrived. He stepped into the booth, hands shaking, heart racing. This wasn't just a job. This was a test of everything he had believed about himself since that teacher told him that someone else's opinion did not define his reality. The music played. The microphone turned on. And in that moment, he was no longer the kid labeled mentally disabled. He was no longer the boy everyone underestimated. He was alive. When the show ended, the station manager didn't clap, didn't praise him. He just said, "Come back tomorrow." That's how success works. It doesn't arrive with fireworks. It arrives quietly and asks, "Are you ready to be consistent?" He kept coming back, learning, failing, improving. And slowly opportunities multiplied. But here's the part most people don't talk about. As his career started to grow, so did the pressure. Bills piled up. Doubts returned. People questioned whether this was realistic. You should get a real job. This isn't stable. You're dreaming too big. And that's when the real battle began. Because the hardest enemy you will ever face is not the world. It's the voice in your own head that whispers, "What if they're right?" See, hunger doesn't disappear once you taste success. It either evolves or it dies. The boy realized something crucial. Success demands sacrifice. He had to outwork his insecurity, outlast his fear, outgrow the people who only knew the old version of him. He learned that comfort is the enemy of greatness, because the moment you get comfortable, you stop growing, and growth is painful. It means waking up when you don't feel like it. It means doing the work when no one is clapping. It means choosing discipline over dopamine. While others were sleeping, he was practicing. While others were complaining, he was preparing. Because he understood something most people never do. You don't rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your habits. Failure still came. Rejection still came. Moments where quitting felt easier than continuing. But every time he wanted to give up, he remembered that boy standing outside the classroom. Afraid, labeled, limited by other people's expectations. And he made a decision. I will never go back to that version of myself. That decision became his identity. And identity is powerful. Because when you change how you see yourself, you change how you act. He stopped asking, "Can I do this?" and started asking, "What must I become to deserve this?" That shift changes everything. Opportunities grew larger. Stages got bigger. The audience expanded, but the hunger stayed. Not hunger for fame, not hunger for money, hunger for purpose. He realized his story wasn't just about him, it was about every person who had ever been told they weren't good enough, smart enough, strong enough. He spoke not to impress people, but to awaken them. And that's when he discovered the truth. The most important factor that determines success is not talent, luck, or education. It is hunger combined with mindset. The refusal to quit. The willingness to endure pain. The discipline to show up when motivation fades. Most people wait for confidence before they act. But confidence comes after action. You don't feel strong and then lift the weight. You lift the weight, and then you become strong. And in that realization, his life changed forever. Let me ask you something. How many times have you told yourself, maybe this just isn't for me? How many times have you looked at your life and thought, I missed my chance? Too old? Too late? Too broken? Too far behind? That voice in your head, the one that keeps reminding you of your failures, that voice is lying to you. Because your past does not disqualify you, it prepares you. The boy you heard about earlier didn't win because life became easy. He won because he refused to let pain have the final word. See, most people don't fail because they lack ability. They fail because they lack belief in themselves. They let one rejection become a conclusion, one setback become a sentence, one opinion become an identity. But the moment you decide, I will not let this break me, everything changes. Pain either destroys you or it builds you. And the difference is not the pain itself, it's the meaning you attach to it. That's why two people can go through the same struggle and come out completely different. One becomes bitter, the other becomes better. One gives up, the other levels up. So let me be clear with you. The most important factor that determines your success is not what happened to you. It's how you respond to it. Your mindset is your foundation. If your mind is weak, your life will reflect it. If your mind is disciplined, your life will rise to match it. The world doesn't reward potential. It rewards persistence. It doesn't care how hard your life was. It responds to what you do next. And that's empowering because it means your future is still in your hands right now. This moment, not tomorrow, not next year, not when you feel ready. Now, you don't need permission to change your life. You don't need approval to chase your vision. You don't need validation to become disciplined. What you need is a decision to stop negotiating with your excuses, a decision to stop waiting for motivation, a decision to do the work, especially when you don't feel like it. Because motivation is temporary, discipline is permanent. Every successful person you admire was once invisible, ignored, doubted. The difference is simple. They kept going when quitting felt logical. They kept believing when believing felt foolish. They stayed hungry when others got comfortable. And hunger, real hunger, changes everything. Hunger wakes you up early. Hunger keeps you focused. Hunger makes average people dangerous. Not because they are better, but because they are consistent. Let me tell you something you may not want to hear. No one is coming to save you. And that's not bad news. That's freedom. Because it means you don't have to wait anymore. You can become the person your future needs. You can rewrite the story you've been telling yourself. But only if you stop identifying with who you used to be. You are not your mistakes. You are not your labels. You are not your past failures. You are what you do repeatedly. And if you start showing up every day, even when it's uncomfortable, even when it's boring, even when it's painful, you will build something unstoppable. Not overnight, not easily, but inevitably. So here's my challenge to you. Decide today that you will no longer live beneath your potential. Decide today that your mindset will no longer be your limitation. Decide today that no matter how many times you fall, you will get back up. Because success is not about never failing. It's about never quitting. And one day, because when someone asks how you did it, you won't talk about luck. You'll talk about discipline, hunger, mindset. You'll say, I decided I wasn't done yet. If this message reached you, it's not by accident. This is your moment. Stand up. Lock in. And remember, the moment you control your mind, you control your future.